the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. When they bombed Pearl Harbor, and my brother and I both, we got upset about it, and both of us joined the Army at that time. Of course, we wanted to fight the Japanese, but that didn't happen. They needed aerial gunners because the gunners were getting killed so fast. I didn't realize it at the time. I'm still young and full of pea and vinegar. So anyhow, a notice came out. They needed small men like me for gunners. So I volunteered, and all my brothers say you're going to get killed. It didn't bother me, at the time. Sure enough, I was picked. They put me in a ball turret on a B-24. And I loved it. It was great until all of a sudden I wound up in England. First mission was Berlin, of all places we had to go. Fortunately, we did that and came back, but we lost an awful lot of men, But I'll be darned. That mission happened to be another Berlin mission way across Germany. And I'm standing against this bulkhead, and all of a sudden, here comes German fighter planes coming behind us, shooting at us. And I can see the bullets coming through the airplane. And I'm standing there, can't do a thing. And it started going down. So I crawled back to where the tail gunner was laying on the escape hatch. So I picked this chute up and I put it in his arms. And I opened the hatch. And I said, jump. And he wouldn't go. He was in shock. He didn't know what was going on. So if he stays with the airplane, he's dead. So I just reached up and I pulled him out. Unfortunately, his chute opened and my chute opened. Naturally, when we hit the ground, the Germans caught us and put us in prison. We spent 28 days walking across Austria and toward the American lines. And they put all us, 4,000 of us, honey, in the woods. They just made us go in the woods. We had nothing. It was the day the war ended, of all days, the day the war ended, Patton's Fifth Army came to where we were. And I'll never forget it. There was an American tank coming down that road, had soldiers on both sides with guns, because they knew we had prison guards with us. But I'll never forget that captain got up in front of that Jeep, in front of that. He said, gentlemen, you're no longer prisoners of war. You're American soldiers. You're free. Just like that. The best thing we could have heard. And then when we got back, it was the saddest thing that ever happened. And I'm going to say it. When we did land in California, and they marched us off this big old boats. And as we walked up to go to wherever they were taking us, people were gathered alongside of us. They were spitting at us, throwing things at us. They called us cowards because we didn't fight the war. They did not realize that we were fighting when we got caught, I must have been a tough little guy because I'll tell you, honey, I went through hell, but God's been good to me. And ever since that time happened, God's been with me. And I feel actually.
Well, yeah, he is amazing. 92 years old, and After the war, he got married and he had several children. He actually got called to the Korean War. So 5 years later, he got called to the Korean War, and he said the difference between going to the Korean War and World War II was World War II. He said he was full of, his words, pea and vinegar.
Yeah.
He didn't really get what it was. But by the time the Korean War rolled around, he knew what war was.
How serious it is.
And he didn't want to go. And he did stay in the service 20 more years after he got home from Korea. But, he is so sharp. You heard him. 92 years old,
Yes.
right? He says that...
drove himself to the station.
Yeah, exactly. He drove himself from Sumter to the station, and he said that his doctors say his vital signs are like those of a 50 or 60-year-old, and he wanted to let me know this was
For the record.
in all ways his vital signs or for a 50 or 60-year-old. He said he still goes on dates. Take a listen to this.
And the ladies,
Have you always been a ladies' man?
always. Always. And I'll be until I die, honey. I'll be until I die.
He is awesome. He was so cool. So
Still got it.
yeah, I
All
really
right.
appreciate you sharing that story with us.
Definitely. And great to have a positive note
Yeah.
added to that as well. All right, you guys stay with us after the break. Some days we'd much rather forget, but for one man, he's forced to relive